Welcome to another AP Human Geography topic walkthrough, brought to you by Mr. Michael, Social Studies teacher. This video is here to help you fill out your lecture notes, understand the big ideas, and maybe even laugh once or twice. So grab your notes and let's get started.
Hey there, geographers. Today we're diving into topic 2.10, causes of migration. This is all about understanding why people move from one place to another and what factors push or pull them to do it. We'll explore how economic troubles, political issues, social pressures, or even environmental changes can cause entire groups of people to relocate. By the end of this lesson, you'll see that every migration story has its own mix of reasons, and these patterns shape the way our world looks today. Alright, let's start by checking out the learning objective so we know exactly what we're trying to figure out. So, here's the game plan. For this topic, you've got to explain how different factors encourage migration. Basically, we're talking about what makes people say, "Yeah, I'm out of here," and what makes them pick their next destination. Migration usually breaks down into push and pull factors. Push factors are the things that make people want to leave, like bad jobs, war, or just overall flop energy. Pull factors are what attract them somewhere new, like better jobs, freedom, or good vibes and opportunity. You'll also need to understand intervening obstacles and opportunities, the stuff that either blocks or redirects people on their journey. These can be cultural, economic, environmental, political, or demographic. So yeah, you're basically learning why people move and how the world keeps shuffling around like it's in a giant game of geo-musical chairs. Next, let's break down what all these migration terms actually mean before your brain decides to migrate too. Let's start with the basics. Migration is the permanent or semi-permanent relocation of people from one place to another. In simple terms, it's people deciding to dip from one spot and set up life somewhere else. Now, here's where it gets spicy. If you're moving into a place, that's immigration. Think, "I'm coming in." If you're moving out of a place, that's emigration, like, "See ya later, I'm out." It's the same move, just from two different perspectives. For example, if someone leaves Mexico to live in Canada, Mexico sees it as emigration, while Canada calls it immigration. So yeah, migration is basically geography's version of people hitting the relocate button on their life. Next, let's check out what actually makes people move, the push and pull factors behind all this movement. So, why do people migrate? Easy. Something's either pushing them out or pulling them in. Push factors are the negative things that make people want to leave. Think war, unemployment, famine, or just overall, "This place ain't it" vibes. Basically, push factors are life's way of saying, "Time to go." Pull factors, on the other hand, are the positives that attract people somewhere new. Better jobs, safety, education, or more opportunities. The kind of stuff that makes people go, "Yeah, this place looks like a W." And here's where it gets real APHG. Both push and pull factors can be ESPN, economic, social, political, or environmental. So whether it's jobs, freedom, family, or climate, there's always a mix of reasons behind why people move. Alright, so we know why people try to move, but here's the plot twist. Stuff gets in the way. Or sometimes, something better pops up mid-journey and they're like, "You know what, this'll do." But hold up. Just because people want to move doesn't mean it's easy. Sometimes life throws up roadblocks or surprise chances that change the whole migration story. Let's start with intervening obstacles. These are barriers that hold migrants back from continuing their journey. Think physical stuff like mountains, oceans, or borders, but it could also be political things like strict immigration laws or not having the money to keep going. Basically, anything that says, "Nah, you're not making it there." Then we've got intervening opportunities. These are chances that make people stop their journey early, but in a good way. Maybe they find a job, meet family, or discover a better place to live before reaching their original destination. It's like when you're on your way to Chick-fil-A but see a taco truck instead, plans change. And yep, both obstacles and opportunities can be ESPN, economic, social, political, or environmental. Next, we'll see how those different ESPN factors actually play out in real migration situations around the world. Right, so let's talk about one of the biggest reasons people pack up and move, money. When the bag's not secure, people start making moves. Economic push factors are the reasons people dip out of a place. Things like losing a job, not being able to find one, or getting paid peanuts for hard work. Basically, when your paycheck isn't paychecking, it's time to bounce. On the flip side, economic pull factors are what make people slide into a new location, higher pay, better jobs, or even seasonal gigs that help them stack some cash. It's that classic, grass looks greener, situation. Take the Bracero program during World War II. The US was short on workers, so they teamed up with Mexico. Over 4 million Mexican laborers came to the US to work in agriculture and transportation. It was a major win for both sides. The US filled jobs, and Mexican workers got better pay. That's a prime example of push and pull at work. Next up, we'll move from chasing the bag, following the heart, how social connections and family ties can shape where people migrate. Now, not every move is about chasing the bag. Sometimes it's about escaping bad vibes or finding your people. Social push factors include things like discrimination, prejudice, and persecution. Basically, when society decides to be the main character in someone else's downfall. People may also leave because of gender roles, since men are often the ones expected to migrate for work or opportunity. On the flip side, social pull factors are all about better vibes, freedom from discrimination, a more accepting society, or moving somewhere you've got family or friends waiting. Think of it as moving from the drama to the chill zone. Take China's one-child policy for example. It led to way more men than women in the population. That imbalance pushed many Chinese men to look for partners abroad, which pulled women from nearby countries into China. It's a wild mix of social and demographic factors shaping real-life migration. Next, we'll look at how politics and power moves, not just people, can make or break where folks end up going. Sometimes, people don't leave home because they want to. They leave because they have to. When your government starts acting like the villain of the story, it's time to bounce. Political push factors include things like war, repressive laws, and discrimination. Basically, when speaking your mind or just existing puts you in danger. These are the "I'm outta here" moments in history. On the other hand, political pull factors are about peace and safety. Countries that offer asylum, protection for people fleeing persecution, become safe zones where migrants can actually breathe again. A real-world example? After Fidel Castro took over Cuba in 1959, anti-communists were jailed or killed for speaking out. Many fled to the US, where they were granted asylum. Today, about 1.2 million people of Cuban descent live in Miami, proof that when politics heat up, migration maps change. Up next, we'll see how the environment, from natural disasters to climate change, can literally force people to move. Sometimes, it's not politics or jobs that push people to move, it's Mother Nature going full chaos mode. Natural push factors include things like natural disasters, droughts, crop failures, and extreme climates. Basically, when the planet starts throwing hands, people have no choice but to dip. Meanwhile, natural pull factors draw people toward better conditions, nice weather, safe environments, and chill landscapes where life isn't constantly a survival game. For example, after Hurricane Katrina hit the US in 2005, over 1 million people were forced to leave their homes. That's a huge reminder that the environment can instantly flip lives upside down, and start massive waves of migration. Now that we've looked at what causes people to migrate, let's break down how migration actually works. We're talking patterns, distance, and who tends to move, basically, the APHG migration analytics, courtesy of a 19th century geographer named E.G. Ravenstein. Alright, squad, time to meet the original migration influencer, E.G. Ravenstein. Back in the 1800s, this dude dropped what's basically the rules of migration IRL. He noticed patterns that still hit hard today. First off, most migration is short distance. People usually move nearby, not across the world. But sometimes, migration happens in steps, like moving from a small town to a city, and then maybe to a major urban area. Speaking of cities, urban areas pull both long-distance and rural migrants like magnets. More jobs, more energy, more vibes. But it's not one way. Every migration sparks a counter-migration. For every group that moves in, another might dip out. And get this. Young, single males tend to migrate more than females, but women usually move shorter distances, often for family or community reasons. Finally, Ravenstein noticed that most migration is driven by economics, people chasing that bag, or at least a better shot at a stable life. Basically, Ravenstein decoded the blueprint for how and why people move, way before anyone had Google Maps or DMs to stay in touch. Hey fam, we've covered a lot, from people chasing jobs and dodging disasters to Ravenstein basically predicting everyone's next move. Let's run it back real quick and see if all this migration knowledge stuck. Time for a recap. Okay team, let's hit rewind and run it back. Migration. It's when people dip from one place and pull up somewhere else, either permanently or semi-permanently. Push factors? Those are the, nah, I'm outta here, moments, like no jobs, low pay, or natural disasters. Pull factors? The total opposite, better wages, safety, or just good vibes and opportunity. We also talked about obstacles and opportunities. Sometimes life throws a flat tire on your migration journey, or maybe you find a better gig halfway there and stay put. Then we broke it down ESPN style, economic, social, political, and natural causes. And don't forget our guy Ravenstein, the APHG data analyst. He figured out that most migration is short distance, usually to cities, and mostly for the bag, aka economic reasons. So yeah, migration isn't random. It's patterns, reasons, and sometimes pure survival. People move for a reason, and it all ties back to those push and pull forces. Alright, brains reloaded and memory checked. Now let's see if you can really cook with all this migration knowledge. Time for the bonus question, and yeah, this one's gonna make you think, not just vibe. Okay brainiacs, time to flex those geographer muscles. Bonus round. Think about everything we covered. Push and pull factors, obstacles and opportunities, even Ravenstein's laws. Now here's your challenge. How do modern migration patterns prove or challenge Ravenstein's ideas? For example, do things like social media, climate change, or globalization change how and why people move today? Don't just vibe with your opinion, back it up with evidence. Hit me with real-world examples, connected to what we've learned, and show that AP-level thinking. Drop your thoughts in the comments or your notes. Let's see who's got the best take.